Hello dear friends, welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt. Today I've got a video that is kind of a trope recommendation video. It's more of a setting recommendation video, I think. I'm going to recommend to you a couple of reads that are very atmospheric for winter time. So books that you can definitely pick up in winter and kind of get the feel for having the type of read that you want to pick up, like a cozy winter, sometimes small town read, or some kind of a snowy type of read, so that it's really set in winter and you would love to pick it up when it's cold outside and you're at home wanting to read exactly this type of an atmospheric book. I only have a couple of these because I didn't come up with very many that made me think of winter, but I think the ones that I have for you are ones that you definitely can pick up and enjoy. And a couple of them might not exactly be set in winter, but definitely give winter vibes because of the setting. Let me put it like that. So that's a very long and kind of complicated intro to what I'm going to recommend, but it's basically books to pick up in winter time with winter setting or atmosphere. So I have 7 books that I can get, or actually one of them is a series that you can just pick any book out of that series, I think, and it's going to fit within this kind of a setting. But I'm going to just start off with that one, and that is the Winston Brothers series by Reid. I know that this series was huge back in the day when it came out, and I think that it's not as hyped up as it could be, because I think it stands the test of time. If you were to pick up any of the books right now, they still work very well, I think. And I really love the brothers within that series, like the family setting within that book, and the fact that they're set in this, I think, Tennessee small town, mountain town. It just works. That setting just is so very much cozy and wintry, and it's in a mountain and it's small town, and it's very much like everyone knows each other type of vibe, and all of the brothers have different types of love interests and tropes within their books, and I love each and every one of them. I do have my preferences for a couple of them. So I really loved Bo's story, I really loved Cletus's story, and I really loved Billy's story. So these three are really my favorites within the series. But any of these books you won't go wrong with, because it just is the type of tight-knit family with a lot of shenanigans, a lot of comic relief moments within the books, a lot of cozy vibes, and the heroines within these books are also great, all of them. So yeah, you won't go wrong with any Winston Brothers book, in my opinion. The second book I'm going to recommend is one that when I picked it up, I didn't love it as much as the other books within the series, but now that I've come to marinate on it and think about it more, I've come to appreciate it, I think, almost as much as the previous two books, even though those are really all-time favorite books of mine. Let me just put you out of the misery and tell you which books I'm talking about. The book I'm going to recommend specifically for this video is called Running Wild by K.A. Tucker. And the Simple Wild series that focuses on Calla and Jonah are really all-time favorite books of mine. That couple is one of my all-time favorite couples. And within their story, we encounter the character Marie, whose book we're getting in Running Wild. And she is kind of a character who doesn't get the best rep. Like, nobody loves her within that story because she is also a love interest for Jonah, and we all wanted Jonah to get with Calla. But then Marie gets her own book in Running Wild. She is an Alaskan town, small town vet. And her love character is this newcomer within this small town who is a musher. So he is doing this mushing sport with huskies. And I found that it's such an interesting premise because I've never read anything about mushing before. I have seen one or two like movies about it, but I never really had been invested in any type of situations that involve mushing. But really, this book opened up my eyes, and if anyone else has recommendations that involve mushing, I would pick another book up with this premise. And it's a very wintry setting. So it's winter in Alaska. There is a mushing competition. Marie is the vet within this competition, so she's taking care of the animals. And it's very much a wintry setting, so it's definitely suitable to pick up in January or February. You won't regret it. It's a very enjoyable read. The romance is top notch, and just the general premise is very interesting. The next two books are by one of my all-time favorite authors, Mariana Zapata. The first one being my all-time favorite book by this author, and that is From Lukov with Love. This book centers on two characters who are both figure skaters. They don't very much like each other at the start of the book, but they are forced to kind of join forces and couple skate together to win this competition. And it's the romance between them. So it's very much hate to love, kind of enemies to lovers situation that involves figure skating. So it definitely has wintry vibes in my opinion. And just the relationship between Ivan and Jasmine is just one of my all-time favorite stories. I definitely would recommend it. And then another Mariana Zapata book that definitely fits the bill for a wintry setting is All Roads Lead Here, because it's again a very cozy small town type of book set in a mountainy town where we've got the heroine going back to her roots. Her mother used to be a hiker and she got lost very many years ago and she was never found within this mountain trail. And she goes back to that same place to kind of reconnect with her mother's spirit. And she rents this kind of garage apartment, but it turns out that she rented it from a 16-year-old who didn't have the permission of his dad to rent it out. And the romance is between the heroine and the dad. There is an age gap within this book. There is very much a Grump Sunshine situation going on. The hero within this book is a ranger, I think, within this mountain town. And it definitely gives very cozy, wintry setting vibes, in my opinion. So I definitely think you would enjoy it if you pick it up right at this time. A book that I just recently finished that I really loved, that is very emotional and very romantic, is a male-male romance by Bauer. The book is called The Rest of the Story. It's a hockey romance, but what really made me include it in this list, that there is a scene within this book where the two heroes are going to this, I think, Colorado cabin, this kind of very wintry setting, to have a retreat together. And just that scene where they're in this Colorado mountain town where everything is covered in snow. They're in this cabin with the fireplace made up, and it just made me want to be there as well. So yeah, I definitely would recommend this one. Again, it's a male-male hockey romance. They're teammates. It's a very wholesome, very slow burn type of a relationship with a lot of emotional elements to it and very many romantic moments within it. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one and I definitely would recommend it to pick up around this time of year. A book that is not exactly a romance, it's more of a fairy tale fantasy type of read that I read a couple of years ago, is The Bear and the Nightingale. It's the first book within a 3-book series, I think, by Katherine Arden. I read only the first book because this type of book is not exactly my type of book. I really did enjoy some aspects within it, but it's just not my jam. But I definitely would recommend it if you like a very atmospheric, wintry type of setting. This book is set in Russia, like in our world, but it's very much covered in a lot of mythical folklore elements within it. It's very wintry. The setting is very wintry. There are a lot of religious aspects to this book. There's also a lot of mythical creatures within this book. We follow the heroine, I think her name was Vasya, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't want to tell you anything about this book because I'm not going to do a very good job about creating the right setting for the book. But what I can tell you is that it's definitely very atmospherical. It definitely gives you a lot of kind of like old school fairy tale vibes when you read through it. It's very beautifully written, so the language used is very fairy tale like. And yeah, it's a very interesting read, definitely set in winter setting. So if you like the fantastical kind of folklore, almost like if you can imagine some kind of a retelling of some kind of old Soviet folklore tale, then this is the book for you. I'm going to mention one book that I haven't read that I'm very curious about picking up, and I'm definitely going to pick it up soon. The book is called Reid by Harper Dallas. Why I'm including a book that I haven't read is that I've been looking for a book that has some kind of a winter sport within it that is not hockey or figure skating, because we do have a lot of those. What I found is that this book is a sports romance, but it deals with a snowboarder. And he is a bad boy, a player, an adrenaline junkie. And she is a photographer who definitely doesn't want to get caught up with the playboy, but can't help herself, I think. And it really sounds good. It has a high rating, I think of 4.06 on Goodreads. So I definitely want to check it out. And if you're looking for a sports romance with a wintry setting that is not a hockey romance, you might want to consider this one. So like I mentioned before, I don't have very many books to recommend in this video. I kind of am hoping that you have books to recommend to me with this kind of a premise where there is a wintry setting. Please let me know if you have any recommendations with this kind of a setting for me. Leave them down below in the comments. I would love to pick up more books, especially this time of year with a wintry setting. So please give me more recommendations. I hope to see you very soon in the next one. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Happy reading. Take care and bye-bye.